Hello, namaste everyone. Thank you for stopping by and checking out my channel. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Today, I would like to tell you a little bit about my one of my past lives. I do have others, but I only could remember basically two, but just pieces, not the whole life. Just the main important parts right now. This is all I want to know. So I want to tell about the first one that I remembered. I was in the middle of my another video about this subject, but for some reason my phone cut off and said my memory was full. So I had to figure out what was going on. So hopefully this video would go through like it should. If not, I may have to get another phone because I don't know what's going on. But hopefully not, because I need to save all the money I can. But right now, I'm not worried about that. Just my one past dream. Someone's calling me and I hope it don't cut off. But my one past dream is important to me because it comes into this life here. The person from my past life is in this life here. So let me go ahead and explain to you about my past life. Let's see, I remember, I don't really remember how old I was. Maybe I was early 20s. I'm really not sure. I believe I stayed home, with my parents. I had siblings. We lived in front of this other house. We had our neighbor in the back. There's a mother and father and a son, which the son was my age, maybe a few years older. I'm not really sure of the ages or whatever. When I was remembering my past life, I wasn't worried about that kind of details, I just found out what the conclusion was, I guess, the main parts of my past life. Okay, so we were in the front house, very happy. I remember going with not my family, but my parents, I guess. We were just coming home from somewhere, I'm not sure where. But our neighbor and his mom and dad, came out and we're all saying chit-chat, just, hey, what's up, and I looked at him. I said, hey, I hope you're doing good, type deal. And then we went inside. So our neighbors, we were friendly with them, but we weren't like buddy-buddy, we knew each other and talked here and there, but that was it. So I was a singer. I'm not sure if I was in a band or not. I remember we went to different places. We bounced around singing. There was a group of us. I'm more aware of two because they played an important part in my life then. The one man I was in love with. When we met, he was kind of shy, but it was like I love at first sight type of. And I really tried talking to him, but he didn't seem interested, and I'm like, man, what up? But after so long, he played. He didn't, seem a little like me or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, he's not liking me. And then his buddy decides to start making a move. And I'm like, okay, well, your buddy don't want me, so I'll go ahead and go with you type deal. So next thing I know, his buddy ended up to be a player. I wasn't really sure what ended the relationship, but I don't know if I caught him making out with another girl, or if he broke up with me for another girl or whatever. But he ended up, the relationship ended up over. And I remember sitting in like an auditorium, with the seats, and then the stage was, in front of me, where, it was one of our singing days, we all got together and sung. We sang solo and sometimes as a group, and, with partners or whatever. But I don't remember what happened this day. It was just mainly about my relationship. And so I was sitting in the seats, and I was like thinking and sad, and a couple tears might have fallen, but I really wasn't, really upset. I wasn't crying or, really upset. I was just sad, because he was basically using me, or and whatever. But then the man that I had the crush on, his friend, came. He sat by me, and we start talking. He goes, I knew he would hurt you. And I said, well, if you knew he would hurt me, then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you warn me about him, And he's like, well, if I would have warned you about him, then you wouldn't be sitting here crying. And I'm like, well, why would you want me to, be sad? And he's like, well, then you would come to me, I'm like, well, if you would have came to me in the first place, I wouldn't have been with him, and he wouldn't made me sad, So it came out that he actually did like me. He fell in love with me, like love at first sight type deal. And we had a connection. We both felt the connection beforehand, but I don't know if he was scared, or he probably was scared. Guys are scared of connections and things, and women are more intuitive, and they're like, oh yes, I want this connection, So whatever it was, we ended up coming together, and we became a couple, and we were madly in love. We ended up singing songs together, working as a team, and sometimes we do a solo or whatever, but we were always there. We were always together, and we were so much in love. On this one particular day or evening, we both were sitting in the auditorium seats. We both were sitting there holding hands. We were talking, waiting for them to call us up to the stage. And I kept remembering, I kept thinking, I had to pee, I had to go to the bathroom. I was on my period, and I was wearing these white culottes, the short half pants or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to have a mess and then get on stage with, messy clothes. So I kept thinking, I need to get up and go to the bathroom. And I remember sitting there thinking that, if I go outside, I won't come back. I was intuitive, and I kept telling myself, well, if you get up, you won't come back. And so I sat there for a while holding, his hand, and I kept thinking, well, I need to go. I have to go to the bathroom. I have to check myself to make sure nothing, what's gonna happen, you know. And so finally it was time for him to go up on stage. So we held hands and walked up to the stage. So when he got up on the stage, he turned around to, you know, help me up. And I'm like, well, honey, I am going to run to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom, check myself. And so he gave me a kiss and he goes, okay, just hurry back to me, and then we'll sing our duet. So needless to say, I went out the door, or went outside. We were in a tent. Yeah, it was a tent type, not like a tent, but it was like a tent. I went outside, and then I don't remember going to the bathroom. I don't think I made it to the bathroom. And I got kidnapped. And I got thrown in a car. And I guess he like knocked me out or used chloroform, whatever, I don't know. But I remember waking up in his bedroom. And his door was open. And I woke up and I'm like, what in the world? You know, it's freaking out, you know. And then, and my clothes were changed. So I'm really freaking out. I looked over and his mom and dad was sitting, I think it's the living room, the sitting room, and they were watching me, and I'm like, what the heck, you know, I'm not supposed to be here, and I got kidnapped, I need to go. And then his mom came in, and told me, oh, it's okay, you'll be good here, you're not going anywhere, just be a good housewife. I'm like, what? No, you're his mom. You know, you're supposed to be on my side to help me get out of here. And she's like, no, you're our family now. You belong here with us. You're not going anywhere. And so both of his parents knew he kidnapped me. And he kidnapped me to keep me as his whatever, you know. And I tried so hard to get out, but they wouldn't let me. They would not let me get out. Every time I'd even try opening the door, his dad would be there, and he'd threaten me. He'd have a knife and like pull it out and like just threaten me, and then he'd start threatening me with his eyes, and if he saw me even thinking about hollering for help, he'd pull out his knife. You know, it was all this game, you know, to keep me trapped and to keep me there. And it worked. I was scared, you know, if I'd try to leave, he'd kill me, and, you know, it was mostly him, you know. Yeah, the guy who kidnapped me ended up, you know, he was violent towards me, but if I would act like I cared, you know, and babied him, then he would be nice to me. He wouldn't be violent to me. So I quickly learned to keep myself alive. I had to pretend I cared and pretend to love him. And every chance I got, I tried to escape. But it didn't happen. I don't know how long I was there. I don't know. I was there for a little while. And it ended up, in the process of me not being able to holler for help, or, you know, get help and tell my truth, I lost my voice. I lost my voice. I kept praying for a way out, and not being able to talk to anyone that I know, not being able to say, hey, I've been kidnapped. not being able to tell the people that I was with, what I really felt about them. I had to keep everything inside me. And that, like, killed a part of me. And that's how a part of my voice was gone. I couldn't speak my truth. So, in that happening, one day I looked out the window. I like peek out, once in a while. And then I saw my sisters, my siblings outside, they were dancing around, playing around. And then I wanted to beat on the window saying, "Hey, I'm here, I'm here." I tried. "I'm here, I miss you, I love you." And then all of a sudden, his dad walked up behind me and said, "What are you doing?" Closed the curtain and pulled me away. So needless to say, yeah, the family that I was with that had kidnapped me are the family that lived behind me and my family. The ones that we knew, and talked to once in a while. So they knew me and they knew my family. And then they pretended, that they didn't know me. Every time when they would go out, they would talk to my family. "Oh, I feel sorry for you, that I miss her," and blah, blah, blah. The whole time that they had me locked up in their house. And, so it was very hard. And then finally there was they would go out. The mother stayed home, and the father went out, and the guy who kidnapped me, when he went out, they were doing very bad, evil things, murdering and raping people. They had like a business going, kind of like a black market type deal. I don't know. It was awful. And after they would get done, they would come home and, then they'd want loved on. And I kind of think that his mom was kidnapped also by his dad. And she just came to the conclusion that it was okay. But I wasn't okay with it. Every time I got a chance to, I tried to escape. But they were always there. They were always there. And so finally one day, there is a detective that came around. And I saw him and I'm like, "Oh yes, I'm saved, I'm saved." So I ran out the door to get him. And then I saw the one who kidnapped me, walk around the side of the house and approach him. And he told me, "Get in." And then his dad was in behind me. And I went in. And at first, when I remembered the dream, I thought that I was saved. When I went in, I thought that the cop got him and I was freed. But that's not the case. When I went back and realized that was not the case. When I stepped back in the house, his dad came up behind me and cut my throat. He killed me. And when I went out, I blacked out. Then I saw how during that process, there's a lot of people that got arrested. And there's one that was they were looking for and they couldn't find. I don't know if they ever found him or not. But there was this big old ring that they're kidnapping people, murdering people, and raping people, and I don't even want to know what all they were doing. But they had me, at their house. So I lost my voice the one time because I couldn't speak out, I couldn't cry for help, I couldn't do nothing. I kept everything inside me. And then I lost my voice another way when he cut my throat, my larynx. And still in this life, I'm having no problem with it. And with keeping things inside me, it's like parts of me are scared, I gotta let my truth out. I'm just so, I had to keep everything in for so long in that life. So in this life, it's affected me. I feel like I have to, even though I'm free. Well, about a year ago, I guess, not really a year, maybe it's been a year, I met this guy. It was before I even knew about my past life. I met this guy, and there was a connection there, but there wasn't like this strong, like soulmate type of connection. There's a connection like I knew him, and he was not good, and I didn't want to be near him. I didn't want to be around him, but yet something kept pulling me towards him, and he kept pursuing me. He's like, I want you in my life, I love you, and trying to, he'd say anything that tried to keep me with him. And I kept getting these feelings, the whole universe kept trying to tell me, something's wrong, and how he was lying, and he was portraying this one guy when he's in fact a different guy completely. He's not good. Stay away. But then there's something about him that kept like pulling me towards him, and I didn't realize it. I'm like, no, I don't want to go this way. The whole universe, my gut feeling, everything, and saying no. So when I found out about this past life, I started, I realized that this one guy that I met is the guy who kidnapped me from my past life. And what's even more weird is the guy, the man that I was in love with from my past life, the one that we were together when he kidnapped me, I met him also a little over a year ago. And I had that connection, that deep, deep connection, past life soulmate, twin flame connection with him. Like as soon as I saw his picture, I knew that was him. He was the one that was in my dreams, calling out to me. And he was afraid of the connection, so he turned his back on me and left. And that really, really hurts, but he was the one that, from my past life, I sat here and left him up front. I said I had to go to the bathroom, and I never came back. So if I could remember, the fears and everything of that past life, I'm sure he remembers the fears and the pain, the heartache, and everything from that past life too. Even though he don't know it, he don't know what it is, and you know, he really don't know much. But I knew, and I understand. But then not too long after I met him, I met this other guy. And I know every time, you know, he would try to, you know, pull me in, and I'd go in just a little bit, and then I'd be like, no, 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 everything's wrong. Now I know, you know, the fears of being locked up, because he kidnapped me and kept me in his room for so long. I don't know how long, but I was there for so long. And I was so scared every time I tried to do something, you know, every time I tried to scream out for help, you know, they were there and they shut me up quick. Him and his dad. So I understand how the whole situation is. You know, I met him, and even though everything was telling me, you know, no, he is not the person, you know, whatever. I understand, you know, how that connection, even though everything in me and around me was saying no, there's like something there that I was scared to say no to. I was scared to say no to him. I was scared to, you know, run away. But then I realized, you know, he was way far away from me, and I'm way over here. So I'm like, you know what? I don't have to be afraid of him, you know? That was our past life. I have to, you know, stop this connection. I have to, like, say no more. I was not allowed to tell him about the past life connection. I was not allowed to tell him what he did and what he was in his past life. But I do know, I do know about it, and I do understand how the past lives can affect us in this life. And even our fears from our past life could bring us back to where we don't want to be. You know, we have to, when everything around you is saying, no, don't do this, don't do this, when you yourself is saying, don't do this, take a step back, breathe, take a deep breath, go inward, meditate, say, what is going on? What is up with this connection? What is going on, you know? And allow your inner self to tell you, hey, this is what happened. This is from this past life. My fear of my past life, you know, being stuck in this place, kept bringing me back to this one guy. Like a pit, you know, you keep trying to get out of it, but keep falling and don't know why. Now I know why. You know, the fears from my past life are fears that came to this life. And I was too afraid, you know, to be away, and a part of me kind of missed him because we were together so long, and that's, you know, I knew about it in the past life. You know, I had to pretend so much, and then this life here, it was so confusing with everything. But thankfully, the universe told me, you know, showed me my past life, so I know and I understand now all about it. And now I know I can overcome my fears. No, even though I did not realize what they were at first, now I do. So if you have a fear of a person or a place, it's probably from your past life. You need to dig into it and find out what's going on. Don't be with someone just because you're afraid to say no, or just because you're afraid to leave that person. Them are fears from your past life that has come to this life. So just take a few moments, you know, and start meditating every day. Just meditate on it. Say, what's going on, you know, and you will find out, like I did. And I will have to say more about this in a different video. But my time's up. Y'all have a good day. Namaste.